Before we get into this video, I'd like you to know that everything on yonaha.net will be buy one get one 70% off for the remainder of the year, which includes this Champion Yonaha windbreaker and the new sushi design that I just made. Go to yonaha.net. Alright, I am back with Chris from Cridical Media, and we are going to talk about The Black Paradox.
Oh, awesome to be here, man.
Yeah, so what did you think? What was your first impression when reading it?
Honestly, it's great that when Ito does like a single narrative, that it's this strong. So, like he managed to hit a lot of great points, but like some books, he doesn't hit that cathartic point. And that's definitely what he nailed here. I can mention other stuff, but
Yeah, you
honestly,
can.
let's just
Feel
go
free.
ahead. Oh, okay, good. So, one of my favorite Ito books, single narrative, is Remina. It's the one I go back to so many damn times. And this does have a very similar theme when you think about it, like dealing with the future, dealing with a global issue, as we tread on with Black Paradox here. The whole Perodonite thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah, my main takeaway from this was that it's all about greed.
Yep.
But yeah, I agree that this is a stronger narrative than, let's say, Uzumaki, because I loved Uzumaki, but I feel like it was so strong at the beginning and then like felt really weak towards the center.
Hey, man, that's more than entitled. Honestly, Uzumaki, what I like about it, that book at least, is that it is an anthology series, but at least there's a linear path to it. I will admit the ending is pretty abrupt. There, I'll agree with you. But yeah, I did like the whole ride that Ito did.
Yeah.
And in terms of Black Paradox, yeah, you definitely get that avarice, that greed. I got more notes of narcissism, narcissistic tendencies, like with Barashi.
Yeah, I see that too. I think those things go hand in hand. They're all self-serving except for Maruso, who seems to be the voice of reason throughout this. And it's very fitting that her ability towards the end was foresight, like future premonition. And I loved that ending as they're walking out. Just that was a very satisfying like conclusion, because it's like we don't need to see what happens next. We know.
Yep. That's pretty much Ito's philosophy, man. Just end it abruptly, let you decide how it truly ends. But yeah, I love that ominous aspect. All their, wide-eyed, just looking at the reader. Love that perspective.
Yeah, I would say that this, compared to most of his other stories I've read, lacks like disturbing imagery. I mean, there is a couple that stood out to me, and it's the main one was when Barachi's scar has the paradonites coming out. That kind of
Yikes.
stuff is like a phobia for me. But like compared to most of the other stuff I've read, this one is more focused on the narrative than being creepy, and I don't dislike that. It was pretty good.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I will agree with you there too. He's good at like excellent line work, like the gases coming out of the perodonite, like those spirits.
Yeah.
Like that felt a lot like like Gyo, or even still like parts of Remina, or even Deserter. There's like a story in there with a similar kind of effect. But I will agree with you. It's not as heavy with those crazy ideas. I mean, we got Pitan with the robot idea.
Yeah. I
We got
personally didn't
her coming out of the water. Oh, go ahead.
I personally did not get the robot. Like, I know they use him later in the story to like dive into the portals and whatnot, but I was like, that's a really out of pocket thing for this story to have.
Definitely. I mean, he doesn't really tell you what time period some of these stories are in. Like Remina happens in the future. You don't know when this particular story's events take place. I mean, he did write it back in like 2009.
Yeah. I mean, it would
But yeah,
be too nitpicky for me to say that I disliked it. It's just like it felt really strange that there was a robot character. But at the
like a
same time,
MacGuffin.
yeah, but at the same time, like Barachi's reflection was sitting in the car with the other people at the beginning. and then she just shatters like a mirror. So it's like it's not. I mean, it's still, you know, it breaks my suspension of disbelief, but it's like whatever. It's art, and I appreciate the story that it tells. I thought it was super clever that Maruso was in the car with the doppelgangers at the beginning.
Hmm.
But like it seemed like the doppelgangers either weren't aware that they were the doppelgangers or they were purposely tricking her. And I'm not sure which it is because I'd probably have to go look over it again to see. I don't know why they would explain all of that to her if their intention was to trick
themselves
her.
were.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that concept, you know, who's the dreamer or the dreaming kind of concept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that logic though. Like you don't know. That's kind of the beauty of it. I like when horror kind of keeps you in the dark because you yourself are guessing, right?
Yeah, and I really liked that, especially when they were calling the hospitals and Pitan's body didn't get checked into any of them, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
where is this turning? And that the doctor whose name is Suga,
And I was calling him just Suga.
Suga,
Yeah,
yeah.
whatever works.
I'm thinking Suga like the K-pop idol, I guess, but
Okay.
yeah, I his inclusion in the story was amazing. Like his
Hmm.
basement is like one of the bleakest settings, and it's just like that was some really good horror. And the way that Maruso was like chained up for however long, it looked like weeks or months. Like
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
pretty.
it started to turn in a direction where it was more like scary science fiction, and I liked that element of it a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kind of had that cabin in the woods aspect, right?
Yeah.
And of all things, this doctor has a freaking lab in his basement. I don't know if that's normal for doctors, especially in
Yeah.
his profession or his field.
Yeah, I mean, again,
Yeah.
the suspension of disbelief. I also was like, "What? Who has a full like swimming pool like in their basement, and like another
Yeah.
room with another smaller pool out, like on the next doorway?" But like, I mean, assuming he's like one of the top doctors, he probably makes enough money to pay people to build whatever he wants. But like,
Yeah.
the way these four characters were integral to the portal to the other place, um, the and it was really I really liked that, and I also really liked that we never really saw much of what was on the other side other than these four,
Yes.
because it's like they're seeing something that's endlessly beautiful, and we'll never comprehend what they saw.
Oh, definitely.
And
Yeah, like that. Once again, yeah, keeping us in the dark of that whole ethereal plane. Yeah, it was a real nice touch. Even Barashi's robot, that whole aspect when it tries and it can't comprehend it and it comes out the way it does. Yeah, like I definitely appreciate. I said it already, but keeping people in the dark just builds the suspense.
yeah, I found the first two chapters to be kind of hilarious, and I like that Junji Ito was, not making it too serious right off the bat. It's like even the concept of these four kids like meeting online to go end their lives was bizarre, but like the fact that they're all fighting in the second chapter, like, no, 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 no. I don't trust you. You might be a doppelganger. Like, I'm not gonna die unless all of you are real. I'm like, if you're planning on dying, then why does it matter?
And that's where I was starting to think, yeah, your idea of greed is there for sure, and it definitely plays a part. But I almost feel like the vanity aspect, that's really what played into that. Like, yeah, I'll kill myself, but like they're just waiting for the other one. They're more self-concerned or whatever. Yeah, and you look at what Barashi is, she just wants to fix that birthmark. Look at Dr. Suka, he just wants to be famous. Like I felt like that tone definitely kept playing into it.
Yeah.
Even the droids, even the robot idea, like it's man trying to create a self-image of itself, a better version. So at least that's how I took the robots.
Yeah, I mean, now that you say that, I do appreciate it a little bit more. I mean, the whole reason that Piton wanted to die was because the robot was looked at as better than him. To feel
Yeah, what the
inferior
hell?
to yourself is a feeling that we in the real world will probably never be able to experience. But we can empathize with him for that.
Yeah, he's not only just looking into the mirror, he can touch it, and he's literally seeing a crowd of people just love the mirror more than him.
Yeah, I kind of feel that what's his name, Taburo.
Yeah.
I think that he is probably the most lackluster character in the whole story. I mean, he's kind
Agreed.
of. I feel like he's just Barachi's like pair. Like they're
Yep.
they're kind of the same, but like
Yeah,
she
get
has
rich
more.
quick.
She has more of a motive in the story than he does. But I really liked that he, isolated himself and then his doppelganger became his shadow, and like that paranoia element. Like I love paranoia in horror fiction, and the many ways that it's illustrated.
Yeah, because look what happened to him in that room, right? That awesome effect where it's like everything is flipped on the opposite side, right? Like his shadow is white. I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
and then he
But yeah,
like appears out of it. Yeah,
yeah, that was one of the trippiest parts in that book. Yes, Ito nailed that scene. Like it works so well, like very vivid for me. Like I saw it happen. Like could literally see this character walking toward me. Great effect.
yeah. Um, so let's see. I guess we've covered pretty much all the ground with that. What do you rate the book out of 10?
Out of 10, I think I even said in the video, like it's like an 8, 9, only because only because of its brevity, its short length.
Yeah.
That's probably the only kind of reason why I dock it points. But then again, I've said it already. Like I love Remina. That's also like a 200 pager, like a 250 pager. This is like 200. So it's digestible. I was surprised I got so much out of so little. So yeah, Ito, you're a god MC, dude. Look at that. 13 years later after it came out.
Yeah. I've been infatuated with his work for like about 2 years now, and I it makes me want to draw, and then I realize I can't draw like him. And
Yeah,
it's a
his
cycle for me.
anatomies are awesome.
Yeah. I want to get into other horror artists, but like there's so much of his that I still need to read. And what was it? There's like new Viz Media books at the local bookstore that has like other authors that I might check out soon. And they have
Oh
very
yeah.
similar style to Ito, so I'm interested. But yeah,
So yeah, if you're a fan of Ito, one of his inspirations is Katsuo Metsu. So yeah, if you ever heard of Drifting Classroom
I have.
or Oroshi, I did a video or two of that. And yeah, you'll probably see like the beginnings of Ito even in that series.
Interesting. Yeah, I recently bought the Tomie book, and I noticed that his illustrations in the first chapter were very primitive compared to what he's doing now, or not doing now, because a lot of the stuff is 20 years old. But like I know that Tomie was one of his first like
Yeah,
stories, but
like
like
late 80s.
it's
Yeah.
so interesting to see how his style developed after he started publishing.
Definitely. I mean, if you ever got that book, Deserter, it's a collection of his stories. That one, that one definitely shows you his history because you're seeing stories from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, and yeah, you are seeing that progression, like the way he used to draw people's faces, more linear, and then as you read through the book, you're getting closer to today. Yeah, you're getting more rounded, perfect in anatomies
Yeah.
that Ito is known for now, and that hair style that he's like a master of.
Yeah, I would say that I'm starting to run into an issue where his main characters are starting to blend together. Like
Yeah, they look alike.
they do look alike. Maruso looks close enough to Tomie, who looks close enough to the main character of half the other stories I've read, and it's not a bad thing. I mean, especially when you're drawing with pen on paper in these like in this style. But like I'm glad that these four characters don't look anything alike because their names would be
Hmm.
even harder for me to memorize.
Yeah,
But like
especially Pitan.
Piton has a
Jeez.
very interesting head shape.
Yeah, never seen him do that before. No other book I have of his
Yeah.
has a character that even looks like this guy. Looks like a shovel.
Yeah,
Like somebody
I
smacked him with a shovel.
yeah, when I picked up the book, I turned it around and Piton looks even weirder on the back of the book.
Let me see this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. Jeez, sharp chin.
Yeah. But
Good stuff though.
yeah. I'm really happy to do all this. I plan on reviewing the what was it, the Liminal Zone as well. I bought that one
Oh, yeah.
too, and I read it. This one I read in like an hour and a half. Like I sat down to read the first chapter and I couldn't stop.
That's literally me too. Like I got it the day from Amazon, and I ended up killing it like 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna like Liminal Zone. It is more of a story collection.
Oh,
too.
don't worry. I actually read it already. I just haven't reviewed it
Okay.
yet.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personally, the Madonna story was my favorite of that one.
That's the one with the church, right?
The school and the church. Yeah.
That one was very interesting. I have to look at the table of contents again to remember which stories there were, because I picked up that one immediately after reading the Shiver, and that
That's
was
something I still need to read.
Yeah, Shiver was really good. His balloon head one is like one that is like referenced and cited all over the place, and when you get to that one, you'll see like why it's very interesting. It's a bit longer than I expected it to be too, but I don't know why the book is named after the chapter Shiver, because that's one of the less likable ones in the book.
No.
But like
Or
none of
maybe
them
there's
are
a hidden meaning.
yeah, none of them are bad. Like it's all Junji Ito. There's I think the final chapter or the second to last chapter was like the weirdest one. It was like the spirit flow one, where like
Oh, Spirit Flow?
yeah, these guys are just
yeah, yeah.
riding the no, that's in the Liminal Zone. Okay,
I was
yeah.
about to say.
I'm getting my brain
These story collections, dude, I don't blame you.
yeah. But the first one I purchased for myself was Uzumaki. I
Mm-hmm.
sat and read half of it in one sitting, which was like 300 or 400 pages.
Yeah, it's a beast.
Yeah. And now
I
I'm
like
struggling
the-
with Tomie because I'm like, oh man, it's all like the same character in different stories. It's longer than Uzumaki and Shiver like combined almost.
Yeah, it was like his baby, like the one he kept going back to. Sure, he started in the 80s, but like I think it went up until like the 90s, like almost the later 90s.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more of that magazine format. There's only like a few connected stories in it. But if you haven't finished it yet, you're going to love it and you're going to be ready for that anime that's coming out in 2023.
Oh yeah, I'm super hyped for the Tales of the Macabre, and I'm super hyped for the Uzumaki adaptation. However,
Here.
I'm one of the people that think that Junji Ito might not be properly adaptable. I think that he has mastered his medium, and I don't think that anyone's going to be able to do anything better, but I'm still excited to watch it anyway.
Oh, true. Honestly, my first introduction to him was actually the Tomy movie from like high school from like the early 2000s. So,
Interesting.
yeah, man, like that I didn't even know it was Ito until modern day. But yeah, I like that film too. And yeah, you come across the book, it's just so damn diverse.
Yeah. My first experience of Junji Ito was this meme about the Amagara Fault.
Okay.
It was just a meme about, like, it was one of those surrealist memes where it's like, oh, I must not enter this hole in the wall, but it's made for me. It shapes like me. I must. And, I didn't know there was more to it, but, I found the story. I listened to a dramatic reading of it because I didn't know which book it was in. And I was hooked. I've listened to so many dramatic readings of so many stories. One of my favorites being The Long Dream. I hope you know
Long
that
Dream.
one.
Is that like one of those bonuses?
Oh, I think The Long Dream is in Shiver.
Okay, no wonder.
Okay,
Never mind.
when you read that one, that is one of my favorite ones ever. It deals with the most existential dread like you could ever think of. It's,
Oh, boy.
it's a guy who's experiencing like increasingly long dreams that turn into like everlasting nightmares, but he also like forgets who he is in the real world, and there's this really like grotesque stuff that goes on, and that's all I'm gonna say. You got to read it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Almost sounds like that one from Liminal Zone, the last story. The guy who dreams.
Oh,
and
I
then-
love that one.
Anyways.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like it.
It's not like that. It's not. I don't want to spoil it for you though. It's
All good.
yeah. It's great. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, that kind of concludes this. I'm just gonna record a short like review of my own, and then I'll tag this onto it, and that'll be the whole video.
Oh, beautiful, man.
Appreciate you for coming on with me. I'm gonna link your channel below and watch some more of your videos later.
Of course, man. Yeah, I did Liminal Zone. Maybe you can grab some ideas from that too.
Yeah, sounds good. All right.
All right,
Well,
well.
everyone subscribe to Cridical Media. I'll again have it linked below. And subscribe to me for more content. I plan on reviewing more Junji Ito stuff in the future, as well as more anime and more movies and stuff. And anyway, thanks for watching.